Yeah.
Yeah, and on that note of facilities you mentioned, right? So, you know, in the last 10 years, the amounts of companies with amazing press releases of how they have a nice office, there's tons in San Francisco. I'm looking at, I was just last week at BCG's office in New Delhi, in Gurgaon, and it's
Mm.
just amazing. I remember there's just so many nice offices in the world, different companies. And Google really was one of the pioneers of starting that. And we're moving into now, more of a constrained, like you said, uh, innovation comes from maybe being more squeezed. So while maybe we're not closing the door to fancy offices or nice spaces, but how do companies now measure impact of having these office spaces that are supposedly supposed to promote well-being? Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll say first, I'll start with, let's say, our hypotheses about how they do or do not promote health, promote well-being. And then from there, we can talk about measurement, which is super hard. And I'm going to give some really dissatisfying answers. So I'll just set that expectation now. But as I think about, like, why do you have an office? And I'll put health and well-being aside for a second. There's um, there's a really good term that's becoming more popular now where they talk about activity-based working, where, before you design an office, you'd say, like, okay, well, the desks are here, the meeting rooms are here, your bathrooms are here. And they're trying to reorient the conversation around what is the work to be done and how does it need to be done, and how do we either design the space to facilitate that, or if it's going to be really dynamic, how do we design space to be equally dynamic so you can reconfigure it to the activity you need to do. And so you can think about working together as a team versus individual head down work. And so you might have different spaces or different configurations within an office to do that. You can also think about, like, for Google, one of the values of being together is having smart people have casual collisions. And so this is not a substitute for having good culture, but having people who like each other and have common interests and have complementary knowledge build connections can help enable both good culture and business performance. And then the final part is your amenity spaces, whether health and well-being or not. Like, what we find is the way I like to think about this is your amenity there, other than whatever the offering is, whether it's food or the gym or something else, is it there to help people connect, as in you want it social, or is it there to provide a moment of respite and help people disconnect? And so the activity is like come together or be separate, but just, be intentional about those things. And then in terms of the ambiance, is that done with high or low energy? And so by turning all of these knobs, you can say, well, if I'm going to bring people together, can I help them be productive? Can I help them step away from that and recover when they're not working and they need to replenish? And then can I get them their other needs, such as movement, nutrition, things that help them take a positive mindset? Or if the workplace is one of their main places of social connectivity, how do I help them nurture those relationships with supportive spaces, like a really good food experience? Like that part of the value of food, people think about it as like, oh, it keeps people in the office. Um, there's a reason we all talk about the concept of breaking bread. Like, a good meal is one of the best ways to connect people, like, known to humanity.